So, very special interview with a very special athlete, someone I've admired, someone I've followed, someone I've covered, had multiple chats in the past, and will look forward to covering in Paris. 25 days to go, less than 25 days to go. First thoughts, how is it happening? How's the preparation? How are you mentally doing? How are you getting ready?
Hello, sir. Yeah, I am all prepared for Paris, and yeah, last couple of weeks and months were a good test for our pressure handling situations and how prepared we are. And I'm really glad to see how my competitions and the trials went. So I'm in a good frame of mind and all prepared with my routine, and all my planning is going according to I have planned from last couple of months. And yeah, looking forward to Paris. I'm all positive.
Anjum, the trials went brilliantly for you. I mean, all four. Two questions. One, do you think these trials, because of the intense competition that you all had between yourselves, it sort of sets you up for Paris? Because so far, what used to happen, even in Tokyo, that one gets the quota, goes there, and that's when you're exposed to that kind of pressure. But here, with such kind of intense competition, whether you'll make it, you'll not make it, so the pressure was there. Did that kind of get you ready for Paris, and you think this process was good?
Yes, I think last time for Tokyo, when I qualified, I won the quota 3 years prior to the games, and maintaining that rank and that peak for 3 years to get selected was somewhere exhausting. And also COVID coming in, it was a very different set of competitions, and quite challenging staying away for so long and just playing certain matches. But this time I would say it's very different for me. Just peaking at the right time for the selection, and also keeping that momentum, I think has really helped me. And the best was the using the time when I was not, in the main team last year for the Asian Games and the World Championships, and didn't really win the quota. So for me, that hard time was the best to work on myself and to actually get better. And eventually, I'm seeing those results now. So I'm happy with my performances. And I think this way of selecting the team for Paris is a good way to see who's peaking at the right time just before the games. And I'm very excited to see what happens in the games.
Yeah, I mean, that was my point as well. And I remember when you got the Tokyo quota, I actually had covered it. I think you and Apurvi got it on the same day or something like that. I forget, but that was it because I covered real time when it happened and was rejoicing and jumping for you. Having said that, I mean, even in Munich, you were close. So clearly the scores 588, 590, 92, all of each time I see y'all perform, I think y'all are there. Y'all are there. So what is that 1%, Anjum, that you will focus on now in the final home stretch? Is there anything that you want to particularly work on? Mental strength, your creativity, for example. Will you do other things like sort of take your mind off and paint a little bit more? How do you finally want to sort of approach the home stretch?
Yes, of course. I think painting just goes hand in hand with my shooting, and that is the reason I could really switch off from shooting when the things were not going that great, and it has always helped me to calm down. Along with that, I think, yeah, my mental training is one positive change that I've seen from the last 2 years since I've really focused on my mental health. And there are certain ways in which we do our trainings mentally that have helped me to get better. And nothing much I'm changing before the games, but I'm just hoping to keep the same momentum going and to just follow the routine and plan that's there, and nothing to add any extra bit to make it anything different like any other game. So I'm just focusing on my routine, and I think I will be just following that.
Will the experience of an Olympic Games help? And secondly, is it the word Olympic Games, rather words? Because you do it day in, day out. You do it in practice, you do it in trials, 592, 90, whatever. These are top scores. And one knows that if you do that, you'll make it. But is it the words, Olympic Games, that sort of gets into an athlete's mind? Is that the issue?
I think no, there's no issue about it. The only thing different in the Olympic Games is the coverage that it gets. the 5 Olympic rings, that's different, and the name. I think other than that, when we are standing at that shooting range, when we are, shooting with a rifle, everything is similar to any other competition we might be playing in India. It's the same shooting lane, it's the same weapon, same ammunition. We are the same. So I think it's just somewhere the mindset and the thoughts we might get in terms of the 5 rings that are there differently for these games, and obviously the coverage that is there. Other than that, it's nothing different. But of course, these things obviously add on a little bit of pressure, and it's something very, like a very positive environment around the Olympic Games, and also all the ceremonies that take place, and everything is very exciting, and I'm happy that the athletes get to experience that. But I think somewhere down the line, if you are experienced enough and to handle all of this, I think it's part of the journey of athletes career, and one should really enjoy and know how to manage.
So when, because you said it, I'm asking this. So when six of us, for example, from Revsportz, we're all there. If we stand in Chateau behind Anjum Moudgil and you start shooting brilliantly and we start shouting and clapping, is that actually a problem, or you can switch off? Because for us, Anjum is one of us, representing us, my country, and is my hero out there who's doing it for us. And we celebrate you and document you, and you are my story. But you are the athlete who wants to be in that zone. Is that distracting?
For some people, it might be distracting. For some, it might not be, because it's very different for every individual. And sometimes in the match, when we are in that zone where we have to shoot all the 60 shots, in staying in that zone, maybe it might disturb, but sometimes it not, because we never really focus on what's happening behind us. For me, I really take my time to get in that zone, and also it takes me time to get out of that zone. So it might not be distracting. You never know on what happens on that day, but for some, I don't think that's distracting at all. And in the finals, we are always used to having the loud crowd, and the spectators enjoying every bit of it. So I don't think we mind any of that while we are shooting the finals. In the match, we're not really used to having that loud, the noise, but I'm sure if someone is in their zone, it won't affect.
21 shooters, 28 events, great Indian team, tremendous hype, build up, and because you all have done so well. Overall, just an answer about the team, because again, the whole 10 medal premise is built on the fact that shooting will give us 3-4 medals.
Yes, I think it's yes, shooting always has high expectations because of how we perform in all the other competitions that are a build up till the Olympic Games. But I think these set of the whole team is so young, and they're just 4 shooters who are going for the second time. But the confidence and the level of expertise the younger shooters have is something that even we learn from. And I think it will there's no expectations from the shooters. They're just going to go and give their best. They have this winning mindset, and expectations will always be there. But as an athlete, I think our job is to just focus on the things that are under our control and give our best with no regrets later.
You speak beautifully, clearly. I mean, the articulation. I've told you this in the past in that function that you were together with me. Final question. When you're out there, I mean, on the day, it'll be probably the greatest moment in your career as an athlete. Maybe you don't look at it as such right now, because that will build pressure. How do you deal with that pressure? Is there any particular way? Is there and what about mental health? Because this pressure, for example, Tendulkar tells me that there's two ways to deal with it. If it's behind you, it will propel you forward. If it's above you, it will push you down. How do you deal with the Olympic pressure? And secondly, like I said, you know, does that kind of impact mental health, and is that sort of challenging as well?
Of course, I think, but I mean, there are 2 types of pressure. One, certain pressures are not really good for the athletes, but I think the pressures will always be there, and it's our job as an athlete to face each and everything that's coming, and also to know how to face it. So for me, the pressure has always been a good and a positive thing. I've used I'm used to actually turn the pressure into things that really push me. So if I have pressure, that will really help me to focus better and to be in the zone better, and to give my best in each and every shot. So for me, I've learned to build up and use that pressure my way. So I think that's what mainly many athletes do, and I was fortunate enough to experience that in the Olympic trials, because it was of another level. And not winning the Olympic quota and not having any additional points, and having that pressure that I've built up on myself from the last 2 years to wanting to go to Paris. I think that pressure that I've put on myself had somewhere really pushed me along, for so many months. And yeah, that fire within has always been stronger and just getting much stronger. And that's how we handle pressure. And I think if you are a professional athlete, having that control on your mind and your thoughts, and how to think contrary to your thoughts that might not be working well for you. So I think you should have that type of mindset, and yeah, that works for us.
I'll finish there. I'll finish there. I mean, fingers crossed for you. It was
Thank
enjoyable
you.
as usual talking to you, with the request that come Paris on that day in Chateauroux, we'll be there for you. And once it
Thank you
happens,
so much.
I don't want to mention the word medal, but come what may, we will be there in good and bad. If it happens, let's celebrate, and my hand will be up for an interview. Don't say no. On that note, thank you very, very much, Anjum Moudgil. Appreciate you joining me.
Thank you so much. It was lovely talking to you. Thank you.
Thanks a lot.